The hum of the engines filled the cabin of Trump Force One, Donald Trump's private Boeing 757, soaring at 35,000 feet above the Midwest. It was January 2025, just days after his second inauguration, and the newly re-elected president was en route to a rally in Ohio. The luxurious jet, decked out with gold accents and a 57-inch TV, was a symbol of his power, until he gave an order that stopped everything. Divert the plane to Mar-a-Lago, Trump demanded mid-flight, citing a sudden need to handle urgent business. But the pilot, Captain John Duncan, a 30-year veteran who'd flown Trump since 1989, said something no one expected. "No, sir. I'm Sarah, a Crescent Meadows resident and the county's wildlife conservation head, who'd already crossed paths with power-hungry figures like HOA tyrant Karen Miller. My community, a vibrant suburb free of HOA control, thrived on standing up to overreach, and this story hit close to home. News of the mid-flight clash spread like wildfire on our community forum, with neighbors buzzing about the pilot's defiance. Duncan, a by-the-book aviator, cited FAA regulations and safety protocols, refusing to reroute without clearance. Trump, unaccustomed to defiance, reportedly fumed, but Duncan held firm, landing in Ohio as planned. What made this moment explosive wasn't just the refusal. It was the fallout. The story went viral, with hashtags #PilotSaysNo and #TrumpForce1 trending globally. Duncan became an overnight hero, hailed as a symbol of integrity against unchecked power. But whispers of Trump's push to fire him, and even replace the FAA head, stirred fears of retaliation. In Crescent Meadows, we saw parallels to our own fights against Karen's bullying. This wasn't just a mid-air drama. It was a test of principle, with stakes that could reshape aviation safety and public trust. What happened next wasn't just a viral moment. It was a showdown that exposed the limits of power, rallied a nation behind a pilot's courage, and left Trump facing a backlash that stunned his inner circle. Duncan's no echoed far beyond the cockpit, and Crescent Meadows was ready to cheer it on. Crescent Meadows was a liberated suburb, a colorful haven of murals, wild gardens, and my Meadow Mart, a bustling store and cafe that anchored our community. Once suffocated by HOA rules under Karen Miller, it now thrived as a symbol of defiance, thanks to my victories, buying Meadow Mart, exposing Karen's assaults, and protecting my private Crescent Lake. As the county's wildlife conservation head, I'd fought for freedom and nature, making our town a beacon of resilience. I'm Sarah, the farmer, store owner, and conservationist who'd outmaneuvered Karen 7 times, from her farm stand ban to her waitress-slapping meltdown. This story, though, was bigger than our town. It was about Captain John Duncan, a 60-year-old pilot with a spotless record, who'd flown Trump's private jet, Trump Force One, for decades. Duncan, trim and gray-haired, was a professional who valued safety over ego, known for calling Trump's 757 the Ferrari of airplanes in a 2016 Smithsonian segment. His calm refusal to divert the flight made him a national figure. Donald Trump, the 45th and 47th president, was a larger-than-life force, his gold-plated jet a rolling testament to his brand. In January 2025, fresh off his inauguration, he was navigating a turbulent start, with controversies over FAA firings and baseless DI claims after a deadly DC crash. His mid-flight order to reroute to Mar-a-Lago was impulsive, clashing with Duncan's adherence to protocol. Key allies included my mother, Ellen, a cafe regular who rallied neighbors, Tom, my biologist friend who tied stories to our lake's conservation, and Linda, the councilwoman who backed my fights. The Crescent Meadows Forum, a digital hub, amplified the story, with neighbors like Jake, my barista, live streaming reactions. Nationally, aviation experts like John Cox, an NBC analyst, and Pete Buttigieg, ex-transportation secretary, weighed in, praising Duncan's stand. The setting was Trump Force One, a 155-foot Boeing 757 with Rolls-Royce engines, 2 bedrooms, and a shower, soaring over Ohio on January 28, 2025. The flight was routine, Trump heading to a rally, until his sudden demand to divert 800 miles south. Duncan, in the cockpit, cited FAA rules requiring pre-approved flight plans and clearance, especially near restricted airspace like DC's prohibited Area 56. The clash, overheard by crew and leaked by an aide, hit the X platform, sparking a firestorm. This wasn't just about a flight path. It was a test of authority versus integrity, echoing Crescent Meadows' battles against Karen's overreach. As I read the news at Meadowmart, I saw a chance to rally our town behind Duncan, linking his courage to our values. The nation was watching, and this pilot's no was about to change everything. The cockpit of Trump Force One was tense. Trump's order to divert to Mar-a-Lago came 90 minutes into the Ohio-bound flight, his voice crackling over the intercom. "John, get us to Florida now," he said, citing urgent business. Captain Duncan, calm but firm, responded, "Sir, I can't. FAA regulations and airspace restrictions prevent it without clearance." Trump, stunned, reportedly snapped, "I'm the president. Do it." Duncan held his ground, citing safety and protocol, and continued to Ohio, landing on schedule at 7 p.m. on January 28, 2025. I was at Meadowmart's cafe when the story broke on X, posted by an aide who'd overheard the exchange. Trump ordered pilot to divert mid-flight. Pilot said no. The post read, with hashtags #pilot says no and #Trump Force One. Our forum exploded. Jake livestreamed from the cafe. Crescent Meadows stands with Duncan. Neighbors posted, "He's our hero," echoing our fights against Karen's bullying. The story hit national news, with clips of Duncan's Smithsonian segment resurfacing, showing his professionalism. I called Tom, who saw parallels to our lake battles. "Duncan's protecting the skies like you protect bluefins," he said, sharing FAA rules online. Ellen rallied patrons, posting, "Power doesn't trump safety." Linda, the councilwoman, texted, "This is huge. Duncan's a model for standing up." I shared on X, "In Crescent Meadows, we know unchecked power. Duncan's no is our fight too." The post went viral, hitting 50,000 likes, with #pilot says no trending globally. Nationally, the story snowballed. Aviation expert John Cox told NBC, "Duncan's right. Pilots can't divert on a whim, especially near restricted airspace." Pete Buttigieg posted on X, "Pilots like Duncan keep us safe. Leadership respects rules." The X platform buzzed with memes. Duncan as Captain America, Trump as a toddler in a cockpit. But rumors swirled of Trump's fury, with aides leaking he wanted Duncan fired and was pushing to replace FAA acting head Christopher Rochelow, appointed after a DC crash controversy. The Crescent Meadows forum became a war room. Neighbors dug up FAA regulations, posting, "Duncan followed 14 CFR 91.3, pilot's final authority." A viral tweet read, "Trump demands mid-flight U-turn, pilot schools him on safety." #pilot says no. News vans hit Ohio, interviewing rally-goers. Duncan's a patriot. The controversy tied to Trump's recent FAA firings. 400 employees, including radar techs, sacked in February 2025, raising fears of safety risks. Trump doubled down at a rally, saying, "I know aviation better than most. I needed to be in Florida." But aviation groups, like the Airline Pilots Association, backed Duncan, stating, "Pilots prioritize safety, not politics." The forum planned a salute to Duncan at Meadowmart, with chalk art of planes and an O signs. A live-streamed, Crescent Meadows honors Duncan's courage. Power doesn't overrule principle. The stream hit 200,000 views, with comments like "Sarah's Town gets it," and "Duncan for FAA head." As pressure mounted, Trump's team floated firing Duncan, but public support surged. A Change.org petition, "Keep Captain Duncan Flying," hit 100,000 signatures. Linda announced a council resolution praising Duncan, tying it to our anti-bullying laws. The stage was set for a showdown. Duncan's job and aviation safety hung in the balance. Crescent Meadows was ready to make this a national stand. Trump Force One's landing in Ohio didn't end the drama. It ignited a firestorm. Trump, livid at Duncan's refusal, reportedly called aides from the tarmac, demanding, "Get him off my plane." The leak hit X within hours, with hashtag pilot says no and hashtag Trump Force One trending worldwide, amassing 10 million views. Crescent Meadows Forum was ablaze. Neighbors posted, "Duncan's our Captain Courage." Jake's livestream from Meadow Mart hit 500,000 views, with patrons chanting, "No means no." I shared, "Trump's tantrum can't ground Duncan. We stand for rules over ego." The post surged to 1 million likes. Nationally, the story dominated. CNN ran headlines. Pilot defies Trump's mid-flight order, sparks safety debate. John Cox told NBC, Duncan's decision was textbook. Pilots are the final authority under FAA rules. Buttigieg tweeted, "Duncan's integrity is what aviation needs. Trump's demands risk safety." The X platform erupted with memes. Duncan steering past a Trump tantrum, captioned "Safety first." But Trump's camp pushed back, with Sean Duffy, Transportation Secretary, claiming the president's request was reasonable. Aides hinted at replacing Duncan with a loyal pilot, raising alarms. The Crescent Meadows Cafe became a rally point. Tom projected FAA rules on the wall, showing 14 CFR 91.3. The pilot in command is directly responsible for safety. "Duncan's our bluefin protector in the sky," he said, linking it to My Lake. Ellen organized a Salute to Duncan event with kids chalking planes outside Meadow Mart. Linda drafted a council motion to honor Duncan, tying it to our anti-bullying laws post-Karen. "This is about principle," she said as news crews filmed. The forum dug deeper, uncovering Trump's FAA turmoil, 400 firings, including radar techs, weeks after a D.C. crash killed 67. Neighbors posted, "Trump's gutting safety, then demands detours?" A viral tweet read, "Pilot says no to Trump's joyride while FAA bleeds staff." Hashtag pilot says no. Aviation unions, like the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, issued statements. Duncan's actions uphold our standards. The Change.org petition soared to 500,000 signatures, with comments like "Duncan's a national treasure." Trump's Ohio rally fueled the fire. "I know planes. I owned an airline," he boasted, claiming Duncan overreacted. He hinted at FAA changes, saying, "We need people who listen." The crowd cheered, but ex-users slammed him. Trump's shuttle went bust. Duncan knows better. News tied it to his D.C. crash comments, where he baselessly blamed DEI, sparking fears of politicized aviation. Buttigieg told PBS, "Trump's firing safety staff, now pressuring pilots. This is dangerous." In Crescent Meadows, we plan big. The Salute to Duncan event would feature a mock cockpit for kids, free coffee, and a mural of a 757 with NO in bold. I live-streamed. Crescent Meadows fights power grabs from Karen to cockpits. Join us. The stream hit 2 million views, with hashtag Salute Duncan trending. Neighbors posted Duncan's 2016 Smithsonian clip, captioned, "This man's been solid for decades." National groups, like the American Association of People with Disabilities, joined, praising Duncan's stand amid Trump's anti-DI push. Trump's team upped the stakes, leaking plans to suspend Duncan and fast-track a loyalist as FAA head. Aviation experts warned of chaos. Alan Deal, ex-NTSB, told CNN, politicizing pilots risks disasters. The forum planned a national petition, "Save Our Skies," to protect Duncan and FAA staff. Linda announced state lawmakers were eyeing aviation safety laws, inspired by Crescent Meadows. As the event neared, pressure built. Trump's next move could ground Duncan or spark a revolution. The nation and our town held its breath. The Salute to Duncan event packed Meadow Mart, with thousands filling the cafe and streets. The livestream hit 5 million views, with hashtag Pilot Says No and hashtag Salute Duncan trending globally. Kids chalked planes, a mock cockpit drew cheers, and a mural of Trump Force One with NO gleamed. I stood on a stage, megaphone in hand, as Crescent Meadows rallied for Captain Duncan, now a symbol of integrity against power. Linda took the mic, voice commanding. Sarah's town knows fighting bullies, and Duncan's our pilot against Trump's overreach. She unveiled a council resolution honoring Duncan, backed by state lawmakers pushing FAA protections. The crowd roared, waving safety-first signs. Tom tied it to our lake, saying Duncan guards the skies like Sarah guards bluefins. He shared FAA data, proving pilots' authority under 14 CFR 91.3, sparking applause. I spoke next, heart racing. Trump ordered a detour, but Duncan said no, for safety for us. Crescent Meadows stands with him. I revealed the Save Our Skies petition, now at 1 million signatures, demanding Duncan keep flying and FAA staff be restored. The forum exploded. Duncan's our hero. Sarah's leading. News crews broadcast live, headline town rallies for pilot who defied Trump. The climax hit when Duncan himself appeared via video from Ohio, his face steady. I followed the rules to keep everyone safe, he said. Thank you, Crescent Meadows. The crowd wept, chanting Duncan. Duncan. Jake's livestream captured it, hitting 10 million views. Aviation unions sent messages. Duncan represents us all. Buttigieg tweeted, "This is leadership." Cox told CNN, Duncan's stand may save aviation. Trump's team faltered. Hours before, aides leaked he'd planned to fire Duncan, but the public outcry, petitions, viral hashtags, and Crescent Meadows rally forced a retreat. A White House statement claimed Trump respected Duncan's decision, a clear backtrack. The FAA confirmed Duncan's job was safe, and Rocheleau stayed as acting head. My digital dossier, FAA rules, ex post, Duncan's record, was handed to the press, ensuring Trump's retreat stuck. As the mural was unveiled, I rallied the crowd. This is our win. Safety over power. Kids ran to the cockpit display, and music blared. News ran it live. Pilots' defiance sparks national movement. This wasn't just Duncan's victory. It was Crescent Meadows' proof that principle could triumph. The skies were safer, and our town's spirit soared. Duncan's victory reshaped the narrative. News ran headlines like, "Pilots know to Trump's safe job," sparks safety push, and Crescent Meadows leads national rally. The live stream hit 30 million views, with hashtag Pilot Says No trending for weeks. Fan art of Duncan as a superhero flooded the X platform, and aviation schools invited him to speak. Talk shows called, but Duncan stayed humble, saying, "I just did my job." The Save Our Skies petition hit 2 million signatures, prompting Congress to draft aviation safety bills, inspired by Crescent Meadows. Linda's council resolution passed, naming a Meadowmart scholarship for pilots after Duncan. The mural, with NO, bold, drew tourists, boosting cafe sales. FAA rehired 200 of the 400 fired staff, citing public pressure, and Rocheleau announced stricter pilot autonomy rules. Trump stayed quiet, his Mar-a-Lago detour forgotten amid other controversies. Aides admitted privately the backlash, led by our town, forced his retreat. Crescent Meadows humbled him. One ex-post read, Karen Miller, our old HOA foe, was mocked online, with memes tying her tantrums to Trump's. "Don't pull a Karen or a Trump" became a cafe slogan, chalked on tables. Meadowmart thrived, hosting Duncan Days with plane-shaped cookies and pilot talks. My farm stand sold Safety First teas, funding bluefin conservation. Neighbors brought gifts, Model 757s, pilot hats, saying Duncan's stand echoed our fights. The digital dossier, FAA rules, ex posts, rally videos, was studied for aviation law, influencing policy. Ellen led mural tours, calling Duncan our sky guardian. Duncan visited Crescent Meadows months later, landing at our local airstrip. Kids mobbed him, waving chalk planes, as he thanked us. "You made this bigger than me," he told me, eyeing the mural. The forum planned a Sky Freedom Fest, with music, eco-talks, and pilot demos, cementing our legacy. Sarah and Duncan showed power bows to principal. One post read, "At the fest under a skies safe banner, Linda toasted, to Duncan, Sarah, and Crescent Meadows, where courage flies high." Fireworks burst, kids flew model planes, and Duncan smiled beside me. Trump's order had been a spark, but we'd built a movement. Meadow Mart, my stand, and a lake where our fortress, proof no ego could ground our spirit. As stars shone, I knew Crescent Meadows would always soar bold and free.